Ministers, Professor Cham Tao Soon, Chairperson of the judging panel, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be with you tonight to mark 10 years of GEMS Up, Go the Extra Mile for Service movement. In 2005, at the National Day rally, I spoke about building a strong service culture. Because it was important if we are to build a strong service industry, and the service industry is a big part of our economy. Today, 70% of our GDP. And more importantly, we needed a good service culture because it sets the tone for the kind of society we aspire to be: gracious, courteous, and respectful. 10 years later, I'm happy that we've made progress. 11,000 establishments have undertaken service excellence improvement projects together with NTUC and Spring Singapore. The WDA has trained more than 200,000 workers in service excellence and will be doing more. And the Customer Satisfaction Index of Singapore, which you heard about in the video just now, measured by the Institute of Service Excellence at SMU, shows that customers are more satisfied, and we are catching up with the leaders in service standards like US and Korea. Last year, we had one horror story, at least, about a mobile phone shop in Sim Lim Square that treated a Vietnamese tourist disgracefully. But we have many more accolades from customers and tourists expressing appreciation for the good service which they receive in Singapore. So we should celebrate our progress, but at the same time, I think we should recognize that we are not quite where we would like to be yet. In fact, after I drafted this speech, this morning I opened the newspapers and I found another report about Sim Lim Square in the Lian He Zao Bao. And reading the report, it's not so clear whether this time is a shop which is at fault or the customer which is at fault, but whether it's a shop or the customer which led to this altercation, it reflects badly on Singapore and damages our reputation. You ask any tourist, even ask a Singaporean, which country has good service? And I don't think Singapore will come immediately to mind. Most people will say Philippines, Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, in the Asian region. And you must ask yourself, how do these countries do it? Well, partly is their culture, partly is the temperament of the people, because service is in their DNA. For example, the Japanese take great pride in serving each other. Even if you buy one item in a 100 yen store, the shop assistant will put in her best effort to wrap up the item beautifully. I think at least half the 100 yen must be in the wrapping. But other countries didn't start off that way. Rather, they made major national efforts to transform their service industry and succeeded, like Hong Kong did after the Asian crisis in 1997. In Singapore, I don't think our culture and DNA are naturally service-oriented, but we too can learn from Hong Kong and others and transform our service industry to do better. And to do that, everyone has a role to play. Those who are selling, who are businesses and service staff, and those who are buying, who are customers and consumers. The businesses and the service staff have to strive to be customer-centric and build relations with customers. And the businesses have to set the tone. They must embody the right corporate values. They must value their service staff. And they must have the right organization and system in their companies so that frontline staff get the emphasis and the backing that they need to give good service. And one organization which does this well is the National Cancer Center, Singapore. Because when someone is ill with cancer, it can be a very trying time for the patients and also for their families. And the NCCS knows this, So they don't only focus on treating patients, they also tend to the emotional needs of patients and their families. They run programs and support groups and connect them with others who are in the same situation via a support network. These values are embodied in their staff, like Mr. Gilbert Fan, who is a medical social worker. Madam Boon Yu Feng is a breast cancer survivor and an NCCS patient. She turned to Gilbert for help when her husband lost her job. And Gilbert saw that they had 3 young kids and took it upon himself to use his contacts to help her husband look for a job, which speaks to his own values personally, but also to the ethos and the spirit of NCCS. And I spoke to Madam Boon just now, and asked her how things were, and she was happy. Her husband had a job, children, able to concentrate on doing well in school. This year, 1 PSLE, 1 O-levels, 1 A-levels. I said, you're taking 3 exams this year. Stay well and do well. The service staff also play an important role. They must feel proud of their jobs, they must care for their customers, and be willing to go that extra mile. Like Mr. D. Subramaniam, a bus driver from SMRT, now a customer service officer in Woodlands Interchange, who was one of the individual medallion winners tonight. He was driving an SMRT bus, bus 913, one day, when a little girl approached him and started crying. So he asked her what happened. She was 6 or 7 years old, and usually she goes with her brother. Today she decided to go by herself and got onto the bus heading in the wrong direction and went to the bus captain for help and didn't know how to get home. So he comforted her, kept her by his side, and completed the trip, made his way back to the bus interchange. And his thought during the trip was, what if this was my daughter? I would be very worried if she got lost and couldn't return home. So when he got to the interchange, he sought help to contact the girl's grandmother and waited until the girl was reunited with her grandmother. And I was talking to him just now, and he told me how, recounted the story, still full of passion and bringing up what was really a memorable experience. Or Miss Ida Mariani from National Library Board, who was helping one patron of the library to print some articles. But the patron ran into difficulties with the software. Sounds like me struggling with my computer. Because the software couldn't print the document to match the margins which the patron needed. So Ida found out and went out of her way to find other solutions, including finding compatible software and printing out the articles herself for the patron. It may seem like a small gesture, but it meant a lot to the patron because she needed to complete her research paper. So we need good businesses and we need good workers. And we will do more to help them. But that is only one side of the story, because equally important to this story are those who are buying things, the customers, because good customers inspire great service. If a customer treats the vendor well, the person serving him well, then the person will feel good, will get satisfaction, will go that extra mile. But if the customer treats the service staff like dirt, it makes it much harder to serve with pride and to give you good service. Just because a person is serving us doesn't mean he or she is a servant, or worse, your slave. He's looking after us, and it's our responsibility to be courteous, to be reasonable, to be considerate, and to thank him for his efforts to help us. How we treat one another and whether we value and respect one another says a lot about the kind of society and the kind of people that we are. If we aspire to be gracious, courteous, respectful of one another, if we want to live in a place where everyone belongs, doing his part, excelling and serving with pride, then each one of us, we have to do our part. And that's what Gems Up's new service vision is about. The vision is all for service, service for all, which stresses the important role everyone plays in creating a good service culture. And it reminds us that all of us have a role to serve one another. It matters not whether we are service staff, whether we are customers. You may be in the government, you may be in the private sector. You may be going to a hospital to get treatment, you may be going to the National Library Board to borrow a book. But we can be customers, we can be service staff, we have to deal with one another reasonably, courteously, graciously. At the 2005 National Day Rally, when I talked about service excellence, I showed two little videos. The first one was called Tauge Not Enough. And it was about a hawker selling char kway teow who was rude to his customers. But after making the first video and rehearsing the speech, we thought that this might be taken amiss by some hawkers who will tell me other stories. So I made a second video called Tauge Never Enough, which showed the same hawker. This time the hawker was behaving well, but he was serving a rude customer. And I looked up the two videos, and tomorrow I'm going to post them on my Facebook, so you can have a look at that little bit of the speech. And I said that all of us, businesses and workers, as well as customers and consumers, we have roles to play in creating a strong service culture. Now, very interesting, Tauge Not Enough got a lot of laughs because it's the kway teow cha man who is no good. Tauge Never Enough, the audience looked and didn't know whether to laugh or not because it concerned our own behavior, each one of us as consumers. And maybe that's why we focus our energies on our businesses and workers in the past 10 years. But I hope in the next 10 years, we will not only upgrade the businesses and workers, but also strive to be good customers, all of us. And then we can create a virtuous cycle, and we will all be happier with it, and our society will be the better for it. As I said back at that old rally, we're doing this not just for the tourists, but also for ourselves, because it's the kind of society we are. What we are, being gracious, courteous, respectful of one another, knowing that everyone has a place, a dignified place in Singapore, where that everybody belongs, doing his part and excelling in his profession and serving with pride. And that's a Singapore that I hope to live in, that I hope we will all live in, and the Singapore that I think we want our children to live in. A gracious, courteous society where everyone values and respects one another and where we can all be proud of what we do and we can do it well. So congratulations to all the award recipients tonight, both the businesses as well as individuals. You are the role models who should inspire others because you not only go the extra mile for your customers, but through what you do, you show us what kind of people we can be. Thank you very much, and congratulations.